We predicted the Eagles would be good prior to the season, but we had no idea that the Cowboys and Giants would be right up there with them. Josh, what did we miss?
You know what we missed this time? It's that these teams are just better than the league, and fans just give them credit for altogether. I think it's really time to start giving the NFC East some credit here. After all the years of NFC least talks, and I don't know. To me, it looks like the NFC beast right now, and I think it's coming out right now. Obviously, let's not talk about the Commanders for a second. Let's just forget about them for just a bit. Although they actually have been putting up some points, just not capitalizing on games. But we'll get to them. Well, I'll let you take them. The other three teams in this division are a combined 13-2. And their only loss outside of the division right now, because the Cowboys beat the Giants, is Tampa Bay in the game where Dak was injured, which I think they easily could have won that game had, well, actually, they were looking pretty bad. Never mind. Let's not make that argument. Right. But of course, the argument here is the schedules, they're easy. That's why. And while that may, of course, have some truth, they've also beaten the likes of Rams, Bengals, Packers, Cardinals, Jacksonville, who just came off the destruction of the Chargers. That was the Eagles, of course, and the Titans. And 4 of those 6 teams were playoff teams last year. So, I admit it's easy to be like, oh, these schedules are easy, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that the Eagles have won every game, and the fact that the Cowboys have won every game since Dak's injury, and the fact that the Giants have won every game other than playing the Cowboys is impressive. I think it's time to stop writing off this division, because the Rams, the Bengals, these other teams that were, in the Super Bowl are literally having a hangover right now. Tennessee Titans, they were the best team in the AFC to end the year last year, and they look like trash. So I think it's time to just give us a little credit.
It's true. Okay. Well, after your soliloquy there, I will say what we missed is the Cowboys have a really, really good defense. And I think that we didn't understand, I put money down on Micah Parsons to win Defensive Player of the Year, but the entire unit around him, you don't have the Trayvon Diggs is doing splashy interceptions, and you don't have, Micah Parsons looks like the only guy out there. It looks like a really good cohesive unit. They really put a lot of work into making that defense good. The offense should be, still good. They have all of the pieces to be, but they're, Cooper Rush is out there trying his hardest. But the defense is really good for the Cowboys, and that is definitely what we missed going into the season. We had no idea that they would be a top 5 defense in the league right now.
The resurgence of DeMarcus Lawrence has helped a lot, I will say, because the secondary was always pretty good, and the linebackers, they've always, kind of been churning people out. Obviously, Vander Esch is having a pretty solid year. We knew Micah Parsons would be fine, obviously, but DeMarcus Lawrence has been the biggest surprise, and I think that's what's helped them the most, because those sacks on second down, man, it's hard to come back from a 2nd and 18. A lot of teams, I would love to know the stat on the past the 17-yard line, or when you got it on the 2nd down, because it's tough. When you get sacked on 1st down, or even 2nd down or 3rd down, obviously you're screwed. But when you get sacked and you lose 10 yards in that, it's hard to get back from that. And some teams don't know how to plan for that, and then they throw a deep ball, and then it's 3rd and 18, and then it's 4th and 18 because they missed all the shots. So
that's true. But that defense just churns out, and week in and week out, they are one of the best units in football. What we missed on the Giants, the coaching staff meant a lot to that team. They aren't winning in any flashy, splashy ways, but Daboll knows exactly what Daniel Jones can do, and he gets the most out of him. He knows what Saquon Barkley can do. It's fun to see him healthy for a change, and he knows how to work with even a bad O-line. That's the thing that was missed when he got hired there, is he fixed Josh Allen. Before Josh Allen came, when Josh Allen came to the league, and even the first year, he was horrible and very inaccurate. It looked like it was not going to be able to be fixed. And Daboll came in and fixed everything about Josh Allen, and now he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Now, he's not going to fix Daniel Jones, and I'm sure if you pressed him on it, he would definitely have a new quarterback in there after this season. But I can't knock the results. There's no really great players. Look at that receiving core, Josh. It's terrible. It's horrible. Darius Slayton being your wide receiver 1 should mean an L every week, and they went out in London and beat the Packers, and it did not look like the Packers were the best team on the field that day.
All right, so I will say one thing about the Giants, and maybe this kind of ruins my soliloquy a little bit, but the Giants are actually not a good football team.
No,
but
that's good enough.
It's not even that to me. It's Saquon Barkley is what it is. Saquon Barkley is back. The defense has played okay. They've definitely like had some plays together. Obviously, like you said, the wide receiver core just literally for one makes no sense, and two is just completely injured. But no, they're about to lose a lot of games. Unfortunately, the Giants. It's Giants fans. It's been fun while it lasted. You should just hold on to that 4-1 start and just keep bringing that up for like years to come because you're about to lose a few games here. But yeah, no, I do agree that it is the coaching. The coaching staff is phenomenal and has really put them in position to win these games. But yeah, Daniel Jones is not going to be able to keep this up. It's just Saquon Barkley, and when one team figures out how to stop Saquon Barkley, every team will figure that out. So
yeah, it's true, and it's tough, but I like what they've done, and I think that this is a very good basis on how to build a football team. I think when they finally get their cap room back and they're finally able to get off some of the bad contracts, Kenny Galladay, they'll finally be able to build their team back and put them back in a good spot. Just seeing what they're able to do this year with the talent is really special, and I really think that they've got some good pieces to build around.
Oh yeah, and honestly, the young core on this team is phenomenal, and they should have success to come, but it does come with a quarterback change, obviously. And I really hope that this doesn't somehow get Daniel Jones a job in the future at the Giants. He'll
be a really good backup someday. But anyway, and let's get on to the Commanders. Obviously, 1-4, not great. And their problem is that the team seems dysfunctional. If we could be completely honest, I mean. The fact that, and I didn't queue up an audio for this week, which whatever. We had two people. We kind of putting this together on the fly, duct taping it. But Ron Rivera blaming the quarterback. Now, I get the context of the question, and he had to answer it that way. But still, to say the word out of your mouth, quarterback, as the problem on your team of why you're not winning in the division, that is not good.
Yeah,
not good at all.
I saw that and I was like, I need to see the context in this. And of course, he like kind of backtracked the statement or whatever. But the fact that came out of his mouth, and we've seen the way Wentz has acted we haven't seen, but we've heard the way he's acted in the locker room. Mm-hmm. This is not going to help anything. If anything, this is going to draw that clear division between coach and quarterback. And you know who's going to be the first one to go? Not Carson Wentz, because they're not rolling Tyler Heineke out there. It's going to be Ron Rivera for this 1-4 start, because honestly, Carson Wentz has actually given them a chance to win 3 games. Obviously, one of those they did win. Obviously, they had a couple bad games as well because they were 5 weeks through the season. But at the same time, Wentz has put them in a decent spot. You know what floors me the most out of last week's game is the fact that they get Brian Robinson back, and you're thinking, oh, they're going to use him, and they're done with Antonio Gibson, because that's what the whole storyline was before the season started and before Brian Robinson's incident. But you know what they did? They gave him no carries. They gave him 3 or 4 carries. They gave Antonio Gibson 3 or 4 carries. And you know what they did? They put the ball in Carson Wentz's hand the entire time. So to hear the coach say, if we had Jalen Hurts or if we had Dak Prescott, number one, to separate the quarterbacks, the 4 of them that are starting these last few games, we got Cooper Rush, Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz, and Jalen Hurts. Yeah, Jalen Hurts is, I would say, strides ahead of the rest of them. Cooper Rush has been a great game manager, sure, but Daniel Jones and Wentz should be above both of them. Exactly. It's not the quarterback. To me, it's the play calling. That made no sense. I was excited to see Brian Robinson's first game, and you know what we saw? Nothing from any of the running backs.
Well, here's the other part of it is it's the defense. Ron Rivera is a defensive head coach, and this defense isn't great. Like, it's just unfortunate that they keep trotting out the offense as the excuse here, but like the defense isn't very good, and you can point to maybe Chase Young not being there, but is that going to fix everything else about that defense? I don't think so, and it's just unfortunate because they have really good talent on that team, and we got to stop making excuses by blaming the offense when the defense is what's really in trouble here.
I mean, when the quarterback's thrown for 350 in 3 of the 5 games, you really can't blame the quarterback. And I'm kind of tired of hearing Carson Wentz as the scapegoat in general. Like, it makes no sense to me that we're just giving Carson Wentz was a scapegoat for Indy. Look how they've started. Carson Wentz is the scapegoat. Well, okay, to be fair, the Eagles situation was a little different. We actually did hear the true story on that. Basically, Jalen Hurts worked harder than him, and then there was basically just like a drama between the two of them throughout the season. But right here, this is not Wentz's fault. Wentz is playing phenomenal football. I don't want to say phenomenal football. Great football for where he's at right now in his career. And he has proven that he should be a starter in this league at the very least on a low end team. But this team shouldn't be a low end team. The talent is just ridiculous around them. So
it's true, and I'm just like going through this real quick just so everybody's aware. The next coach to be fired here of the bottom team. So Carolina already got rid of their coach. Houston, Lovie Smith is going to play this entire season out. Like that was the plan from the beginning. They're going to start again next year. Lovie Smith's going to be the coach of the Houston Texans for this entire year. Detroit is not going to get rid of Dan Campbell. I do not think. I mean, he needs to.
I hope to God they don't.
He needs to fix the defense because that's what he was brought in to do, and that's the worst part of the team, which is hilarious. But I don't think they're going to fire him. Las Vegas is on a rookie head coach, not going to fire him. And Pittsburgh is, if they would be stupid as hell to get rid of Mike Tomlin. So that leaves the Washington Commanders as the last worst team with a coach that's probably going to get fired next, unfortunately. Like that is the next shoe to drop. And if they lose to the Bears on Thursday, I don't know how he makes it the weekend. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking, out, but
we'll see. That actually should be a decent game. I think those teams are actually pretty evenly matched. So I'm kind of hoping it's a good game just for the sake of Thursday night football in prime time. So.
But yeah, if the Bears beat them, that's all the Commanders, brass and Dan Snyder. That's all he should have to see. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to question number 2. Question number 1. It was a loaded first question, to be fair. So question number 2 will be a little bit less in length, I think. But we thought the Lions were a sneaky playoff team going into the season, but so far they are 1-4. Josh, why were we wrong about the Lions?
We were just straight up wrong about the defense. I think, as you kind of stated, it's kind of hilarious that Dan Campbell, a defensive coach, basically has the worst defense in the league. Like literally beginning of last week, they were the highest scoring offense and the highest scored upon defense. So, I mean, there's a reason we saw promise in this team, and I still do personally. But it's just in general, like it's all up to Dan Campbell at this point, and I'm just hoping he can kind of get this defense in order with the bye week. Swift and Jameson should be out there. At least Swift probably will be. So I don't think defenses stand a chance against them, and I think they will outplay a lot of these teams. And they have a tough. I don't know if you looked at their schedule coming out, but it's Cowboys, Dolphins, Packers. So they're going to need some defense to win those games. But they honestly, if they come out and make a statement against the Cowboys coming out, that offense, there's too much talent on that offense to not be able to score on Dallas's defense. Yes, we talked about how complete Dallas's defense is, but at the same time, there's going to be holes with that speed.
Well, the problem I think this last week was that Hawkinson got targeted like 3 times because I think he was hurt. I think he was a decoy. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think it was kind of the same situation. He did get targeted a few times more, but I still think it was mostly decoy situations. Don't think he was really going to put it all out there. But the thing that we were wrong about is the offense was not the issue. We were so infatuated with the offense and how good we thought this offense was going to be that we didn't even think about how bad this defense was going to be. I thought it would be serviceable. This is flat out horrible. They cannot run. They can't stop anyone who's running the ball at all. You have to fire every running back up that you have when you're playing the Lions because barring injury, they're going to get over 100 yards and a couple of tutties. Like that's just going to happen every time when you're playing the Lions with a running back. So that's what we were wrong about, I think.
Oh, absolutely. We're definitely wrong about that. I just assumed that some of this would form. I mean, there's some talent on this defense, obviously, and I think that's where their next couple first-round picks are going is to defense, obviously, because the offense is pretty much stellar. I mean, yeah, they could use a new quarterback, but I think we were wrong about Jared Goff, actually, because I think that was our biggest fear. We were worried about Jared Goff being, he's just okay. He's played better than Stafford this year. So
yeah, exactly. I think that's hilarious, by the way.
Currently, I think QB like 9 on the year, and that's after this last game. So, of course, they are dealing with injuries, as all teams are, but their secondary is not the problem, although there are some young corners who are still learning. Jeff Okudah and Aurorier is, I think, been out a couple games. But
yeah, Tracy Walker's out for the season on the secondary too, right?
And that did happen, yeah. So, but the problem they're really missing is linebackers because they're most running backs make it through the line. The line is really just blocked by the offensive line. And then the linebackers, that's why, the Nick Boltons, the Darius Leonard or Shaq Leonards sweep up all those tackles is because they're the first one on the scene. Alex Anzalone is not a big guy. He's like a coverage linebacker, and he's their only linebacker, it appears right now. They could really use Jelani Tuvai, who was playing on the other team actually is raking in some tackles right now. So,
which is funny that he's now gone and that's he's playing well now.
This would be the time they use him. I just feel like there's not any linebackers that are really doing anything, sadly, on that team. But yeah, it's the defense, and Jared Goff and the offense look fine. I think you're still firing. Obviously, that was a weird week. Don't be off of the Lions because Amon-Ra and Hawkinson didn't have a good week. Swift will be back, hopefully coming back from the bye, I imagine. He's had a few weeks off, and it's going to be spark on offense. So
he's supposed to, and yeah, they've really needed it. But I've seen a lot of mock drafts have them drafting a quarterback. I think that would be the stupidest move they could make. I think that they should use that pick to beef up this defense because that is the issue. It's not the offense. I think even if you put even like a semi-good quarterback in there, I still think it's going to be a pretty good offense no matter what.
I actually was in the beginning of the year, I was on the train of them drafting a rookie quarterback and, having him sit behind Goff because they're probably paying him a ludicrous amount of money still because the Rams are dumb. But at the same time, like if Goff can build chemistry with these guys and keep this up, what he's been doing, obviously not last game, barring that, I'm down to keep him for another year. I mean, ride it out. You'll have another first round pick again. Yeah, it'd be nice to get one of these young guys and have them sit behind him and learn a little bit because we all saw how Pickett went.